تعتبر الدنمارك أقدم مملكة في أوروبا، حيث بدأت منذ 1000 عام وما زالت قائمة إلى الآن. ويعد علمها أقدم علم لدولة مستقلة في العالم، إذ تم إصداره في عام 1219 للميلاد، وما زال مستخدما إلى الآن. وتعود أقدم الاكتشافات الأثرية في الدنمارك إلى حوالي 130 ألف عام، بينما تشير الدلائل أن الإنسان قد سكنها منذ حوالي 12500 عام قبل الميلاد. تتكون دولة الدنمارك الواقعة في شمال أوروبا الغربية من شبه جزيرة جوتلاند وعدد كبير من الجزر يتجاوز 400 جزيرة. وقد أثبتت الدراسات أن شعبها من أسعد شعوب العالم لما يتمتع به من نمط حياة وطبيعة معيشة ورعاية صحية واجتماعية متطورة في ظل اقتصاد مزدهر.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm Ole Mosby. I'm the ambassador of Denmark to Saudi Arabia. I've been here for 4 years, 11 months, 10 days, 7 hours and 42 minutes. And I've enjoyed every second of it. I'm covering from Riyadh also as ambassador to Kuwait and Bahrain, Oman and Yemen. But most importantly, of course, I'm here at the center of the whole region in Riyadh, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Well, it started in the 70s. Our queen took over her position in 72. And in 74, she actually took the initiative of establishing bilateral relationship between Denmark and Saudi Arabia. So we've had it since 74. So we've just 3 years ago, we actually celebrated the 45 years anniversary, and we will go on and have a 50 years anniversary of bilateral relations in 2024. And I have to say that I've been happy. Actually, I've been on these 45 years. I've been part of it for 5 years, and at a time where it has actually changed a lot bilaterally. It's an amazing development we've seen. It's amazing development we're seeing in Saudi Arabia, but it's certainly also a strengthening of our bilateral relations that we are witnessing at the moment. So. I feel very comfortable of being here and representing Denmark here.
تمتلك المملكة العربية السعودية علاقات جيدة مع دول العالم، وتأتي الدنمارك في مقدمة هذه الدول من دول الاتحاد الأوروبي التي تمتلك علاقات جيدة مع المملكة العربية السعودية. هناك زيارات على مستويات مختلفة بين القيادات وبين عدد من المسؤولين في كلا الجانبين. ومن الطريف، خلينا نقول من الطريف بين العلاقات السعودية الدنماركية أن وزارة الخارجية السعودية من بناها وصممها هي شركة دنماركية، فأسست هذه الوزارة الشامخة وزارة الخارجية السعودية أيضا التي ترتبط بعلاقات مع نظيرتها في الدنمارك بعلاقات جيدة، وهناك زيارات متبادلة. السعودية وأيضا الدنمارك لديهم الكثير من الملفات ولديهم الكثير من الرؤى من خلال الزيارات التي جمعت بين المسؤولين. ورأينا ما تحدث فيه المؤتمر الصحفي أو خلاصة اللقاءات بأن هناك تطابق في وجهات النظر من حيث فرض الأمن والاستقرار في المنطقة. ملفات سوريا تحديدا كان هناك رؤية متوافقة كثيرا على مخرجات جنيف.
Well, I think we have an export from Denmark to Saudi Arabia, mainly in the pharmaceutical industry. We have prominent players when it comes to diabetes and obesity, which is an increasing, unfortunately, a challenge that you are facing in Saudi Arabia. We have a strong also in dermatology and also in what you could call pharmaceutical that relates to brain and development of that. So that's an area where we're having a lot of good cooperation. We actually have invested. Saudi partners have invested in Denmark also in this field. So we are developing that thoroughly.
الدنمارك أيضا هي مع المملكة العربية السعودية تشتركان في عدد من الملفات الاقتصادية، وما يرتبط بين البلدين يرتقي إلى أن ترتقي التبادلات التجارية إلى أكبر مما هو موجود. الدنمارك بالمناسبة دعت إلى إيجاد سوق خليجية أوروبية مشتركة وأسست لهذا في نواته الأولى. أيضا التبادل التجاري والاقتصادي بين البلدين يرتقي إلى أن يكون أفضل مما هو الآن عطفا على كثير من المشتركات. فاليوم البلدين يمتلكان علاقة جيدة ويمتلكان رؤية استراتيجية للمستقبل. التبادل التجاري اليوم بين السعودية والدنمارك يجب أن يؤسس مرة أخرى على رؤية مستقبلية قائمة على عدد من المشتركات التي يمتلكها كل طرف. السعودية لديها الكثير من عناصر القوة سواء في الاقتصاد وفي المنتجات البتروكيماوية وغيرها. أيضا الدنمارك لديها في الطب ولديها في الزراعة ولديها الكثير من المنتجات التجارية التي تستطيع أن تتبادل فيها مع المملكة العربية السعودية. كان هناك بالمناسبة لقاءات مستمرة مع السفير الدنماركي هنا في المملكة، زار عدد من مناطق المملكة وتحدث مع رجال الأعمال عن الكثير من الفرص الواعدة.
In energy, we have a leading role internationally in renewable energy, and I'm really proud to say that we have been the main delivery of the 450 megawatt wind farm in Al Juf. This is the biggest farm in the whole region, and this is actually Danish technology that is there. I'm saying that also because I know that that is an area where I would be happy to see that we could move even further in developing cooperation between Saudi Arabia and Denmark on energy field. You are the main oil producing country at the moment, but as your Minister of Energy actually have already indicated, you should become the main energy producing company in the world. And if one looks at the future, one would look far more on more renewable energy, solar energy, wind energy. And there I believe that we will have a very good opportunity to work together between the Kingdom and Denmark. The third area where we're actually also playing is also a lot of fusion. That's in water and water management. We've had excellent cooperation between Danish companies and the National Water Corporation, between many of the players in the water field. We have a strong position in Denmark in knowing how to make less water waste, how to deal with wastewater, and how to deal with making sure that the network on this is actually also being effective and efficient from an economic point of view. Fourthly, I actually also will have to mention that there is a long tradition of producing food in Denmark. We have been known as an old agricultural a country producing all kinds of meat and products. And at the moment we are actually developing also and making more vertical agricultural development. And I think that's an area where if you really want to see Saudi as a place where you also are focusing on food security and less dependent on importation, that's an area where you have a large potential. And I think actually that's an area where we could play also a bigger role in developing that field. I think actually Saudi is moving towards a smooth route on where to go. I think there's a lot of respect for what has been formulated also in Vision 2030 on where you are going and what the potential and the challenges are here. And I think there are many of the Danish companies who are seeing that as a great opportunity for them to move on in this country. I'm convincing them. Maybe I'm more ambassador of Saudi Arabia towards many of these, but it's in my opinion, it's amazing. I can tell you, when I came in 2017, the first bigger event I was part of was actually the first Future Investment Initiative that took place. That's the one where His Royal Highness the Crown Prince made his, it wasn't a speech, it was actually an interview, but he was actually setting the stage for where Saudi was going. I'm using that always as a good example on where I think that we are moving here and where I think that actually there could be a lot of interest from having a bilateral relation between Denmark and Saudi and between different companies and partners.
يشترك الشعب السعودي مع صديقه الشعب الدنماركي بالكثير من المشتركات، فضلا عن المشتركات الإنسانية التي تجمع بين بني البشر، لكن في الأمور التي لفتتني أمر مهم، وهو أن الشعب الدنماركي يحب أن يظهر إلى البر مرتين في الأسبوع، وهذه عادة سعودية للشعب السعودي، يعشق البراري ويعشق الصحاري. أيضا هناك إجابة الدعوة، السعوديون أيضا مثل الأشقاء في الدنمارك يحبون إجابة الدعوة ويحبون تبادل المصافحة عند الخروج وعند الدخول، أيضا التسامح، حب الآخر، التعامل مع الآخرين، حب الحياة. الشعب الدنماركي هو شعب محب للحياة، ولذلك هو من أسعد الشعوب في العالم. الشعب السعودي أيضا بما يمتلكه من قيم وهوية إسلامية أيضا يتطلع دائما، هو محب للحياة، متسامح، كريم، مضياف.
Well, at the moment, I think that we are about 150 people from Denmark living in Saudi Arabia. When I'm saying it with this caution, it's because we actually don't have a registration system where we actually registered them at the embassy. If they need our help, they'll come. They never need our help, actually. It's very seldom. But most of the people are here are actually working on with the private Danish companies who are engaged, who have made investment in Saudi Arabia. That can be within water or energy, or it can be within medical affairs or pharmaceutical industry. So that's the type of people we have. But you also have people here which are here as students. We have students in Medina, and we have people who I think is just also here on an academic level and involved and working together with counterparts from Saudi Arabia.
السعودية لديها الكثير من المزارات السياحية التي بحاجة إلى أن يكتشفها الدنماركيون، وهي السياحة الشتوية والبراري والتنوع المناخي خصوصا. والسعودية اليوم أعطت الدنمارك قضية السياحة الإلكترونية سريعة الحصول عليها. السعودية اليوم تفتح ذراعيها للشعب الدنماركي الصديق، لدينا الكثير من المشتركات. وأيضا سيكتشف المملكة العربية السعودية، نحن نتطلع أيضا إلى تبادل ثقافي وعلمي، نتطلع أيضا إلى معهد الفنون ومعهد الموسيقى في السعودية أن يستفيد من الخبرة التاريخية التي لدى الدنمارك. لدينا تاريخ ثقافي ولدى الدنمارك أيضا تاريخ ثقافي ثري. نحتاج أن تتمازج هذه الثقافة مع بعضها البعض لننتج مشتركا إنسانيا حضاريا يخلد للأجيال.
I think actually my social life is different than what you have seen. Many of the I've served in before I came here. I was serving in the Netherlands. I've served in the Czech Republic, and I've served in Zimbabwe. But it's a different cultural life that you have here. It's developing immense, and I think actually just the fact that I have been visiting almost in any corner of this country, which is a big country. I've been to all the region from Jizan to Al Juf, Tabuk, Medina, Jeddah, Eastern Province, everywhere. Empty Quarter I've actually also been to. So I've been all over the place, and I've seen the differences and the variation in culture that you have here. And I think that it's been a fantastic development, but it's also been for me personally, I remember that I was once at a camel festival, one of the camel festivals. I've been there 3 times, but I was one of them. I met one of your, and frankly speaking, I don't remember his name, but he was actually the one who was dealing with most of the elite of the camels. And when I asked him, you know, how did you learn how to speak English? Because I couldn't speak Arabic, but he was speaking English. He said, well, I've studied in, I think it was in Wisconsin in the US. I said, what were you studying? Were you studying cattle trading or camel or something? And then he was laughing. He said, no, I was studying architecture. I said, what are you using architecture for? That's the reason why I speak English, he said, because he was totally focused on camel, and he was pretty good at it. It was fantastic to see that type of culture, how that influenced the discussions that we had and the exchange of views that we had. And I think there's a lot of things that we could learn in Denmark from that attitude and that way of maintaining and developing your heritage in terms of culture on where you come from. And I think that I have learned a lot from my. And then I've had the opportunity to of course, I feel that I'm getting very good friends with many Saudis. We have a remarkable honorary consul of Denmark in Majid Al Hokeya, and Majid has actually been extremely friendly, and he has actually welcomed me several times to his home, and we've always exchanged views on it. And it's been a pleasure to have him on board. But I've also had good experiences with the governor in Al Juf, the governor in Tabuk, the governor in Asia, and the governor in Jizan. So it has actually been, from a cultural point of view and from a social point of view, quite an experience to be here. I will never forget it. If I were to say something to my Saudi colleague, I of course would say that the perception of Saudi Arabia is a challenge, and I know that many people are working very hard to change that. That's understandable, but it's actually just maintain your I would say, your proper way of dealing with the challenges in the world and share that with people. Don't teach people what you think is right, but just do the right thing and they will be taught by it. And that's what I think one should do. So it's keep the course on where we're moving on with the Vision 2030. And frankly speaking, I think that's if you can deliver a result like that, that will bring a bright future for Saudi Arabia. To my Danish friends, I would say, instead of just taking a virtual travel around perceptions on what Saudi Arabia is, you should come here. You should come here and you should actually use the opportunity that was generated 2 years ago by the changes in the visa system so that it is easier to come here. And I think in the long run that Saudi Arabia will become a very popular tourist target for Danes, because they know that they are coming to a place where they are, if not the first one, but they're actually experiencing something as a new generations on where it is. And Saudi Arabia has a lot to offer on that, and I think that's my suggestion to my family, my friends, my Danish colleague, and whoever I talk to is go to Saudi Arabia. You will experience it, you will see what they can deliver, you will be met by very friendly people, very intelligent people which have an approach to life which is something which is remarkable.